Hey, what's up, everybody? Ron C, Side Bus Social. We are here back in the mix. Side Bus Social, talking about all the events, what it is to the everyday man, what we like to talk about, discussions, objectives, and everything that we should say far in between. Man, we got a little bit different subject today. We're going to talk about, I still like to think that it does help the everyday man because it talks about a very, very subjective subject in a more objective way. Can we make a good rational decision? I got, off the hook guest, a good friend of mine. He's in the hip hop game out there in Miami, as well as he's advisor for the youth out there in the Miami kind of urban leagues, a coach. So good to go. So I'm going to bring him on real quick. We're going to talk about this great subject. See where he's at. Come on in. Andrew, what's going on, big man? How you doing?
I'm good. How's it going on your end?
Yeah, good out here, still on the West Coast. How's it there in Miami? Living in that good sunny living on the beach every day, hooping, on the blacktop, 12 months a year.
oh yeah, that's why we all run fast here. We can do it all year long.
That's big. That's all good. So, hey, man, so glad to have you here. Tell me about a little bit. Tell the audience basically a little bit about yourself, things you do. I know we actually connected on a hip hop project when I was out there in Miami. We were doing some things with the tour I was on, and did a couple of promotions to there and stuff like that. So let them know what you do, what you represent.
Well, I'm out here in good old Miami. Been doing a lot of work. Been working with the industry for a minute. Was setting up tours. So, hold on, sir. And a little one with me.
Yep.
That's the first thing been doing, being a father.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the first thing, but
good stuff.
I was setting up tours for some of the underground artists, and making sure working their budget, getting them some visibility.
Absolutely.
Without having to break the bank.
Absolutely. So, that's the best person we can bring in to talk about this, spectacular subject. I asked something on my Facebook, and he was one of the cats that answered that we meeting up with, talking about who is the GOAT rapper. And when I sit there and really thought of this subject, it was more some other stuff I was looking at, because everybody, when I usually hear who's the GOAT, it's almost hands down. Everybody always talk about Biggie and Pac, almost like no other rapper has ever existed before or after them. And that's the killer to me.
Right.
We got to respect those two, and I do. But if we're talking about the greatest of all time, up to 2020, how are you realistically going to put their stats? No disrespect to the dead, of course, but how are we going to put those stats next to the marks of a Jay-Z, of an Eminem, of a Snoop, of, a lot of artists that have not only, matched, far by 100, 200, 300% exceeded their metrics. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
and the Ice Cube, the Scarface,
mm-hmm.
all of those is not, like you said, not disrespected there, but it's unfortunate that we didn't get a chance. I always say, people hate when I say it, but I say, they never had a chance to fall off.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So with the conversation, we'll go into it, but I'll start off with a little anecdote I like to say a lot of. I do believe that especially sports, specifically football and basketball, they are a direct comparison to the hip hop community. When most people are talking about hip hop, a lot of times they're also talking about sports and vice versa. So the original subject I was actually thinking about, everybody is always, even the debate right now, here we are, what is it, March 2021, are always saying who's the GOAT in basketball. And it's literally down to Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, those three. Everybody always says it's a clear thing. Well, I would say everybody, a lot of people, most people do put Jordan. But there is a lot of argument of LeBron being on that list, and also Kobe. And now that LeBron especially has passed almost every metric, that Jordan has, can we really keep rolling our eyes and blocking out LeBron to at least not have the conversation? It's all kind of excuses, and even there, Kareem is in there too, so when it comes down to it.
Yeah, Kareem, and And I personally throw Bill Russell in there,
Yes, sir.
as one of the guys in the conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's crazy.
You know.
So with that mentality of why I came to the conversation, that's what it was. It was, okay, well, if we can actually consider LeBron, where a lot of people, especially Jordan fans, big basketball fans, everything he did to the game, they block him out and they don't even put him in the conversation, even though he has stats. So I transferred that over to say, okay, so how can we really say it's only Tupac and Biggie? You know what I mean?
Right.
You got Jay-Z, who's worth $1 million a show right now.
Right.
You have to book him for $1 million per show right now.
At
And yeah, for those are, you got Eminem. He's about, is one of the not only biggest hip hop artists, is in there with the Elvis, the Michael Jacksons as the biggest selling artists of all time. 100 million, I believe, 200 million records. You know what I mean? Sold. Okay. So why are they getting completely blacked out? What kind of favoritism are you think people are given just to keep saying the two brothers that have been out, like you said, for 20 years, they didn't have a chance to fall off. We never saw their longevity. How can we keep saying, okay, it's nobody else but them? And the game would have been locked. The game wouldn't have been nothing, or the game turned into nothing when you have so many brothers now selling quadruple what they sold.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it's always, it really comes down to a lot of people that, what their favorite is when you say the Biggie and Pac conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what side of Mississippi you're on, that's the way I look at it. Yeah. But ultimately, those two, unfortunately, are falling on the list for me. When I just look at it from, like you said, a metric standpoint.
Exactly.
If everybody argues and puts the list together, whatever the list may be, whether it's street cred, album sales, money made, hits, longevity, all those things. If you were to take the 10 most argued points, right now, I would say Jay-Z's the only one in the top 10 in each one of those positions.
Exactly.
Absolutely. He's the only. And if you just take, like you said, on a metric standpoint, that automatically makes him to go. If you just take an average, average number.
Exactly.
He's the only one that stands there. You have guys like, all right, take it easy. You have guys like, like I said, Scarface. But Face doesn't have the album sales.
Exactly.
The number one hits. Snoop doesn't have, the album sales fall short of an Eminem or a Jay-Z. And when you really start to break it down, like I said, Pac and Biggie, they were impactful. Not to probably give them the most impactful artists, but to say that Biggie, and like the sports correlation, to say that Biggie is the greatest of all time, and to say Terrell Davis is the greatest running back of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
He had two hot seasons.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
Got injured.
Or Bo Jackson, the greatest. That kind of thing.
Right. We can't really put them in the conversation. They were awesome when they were there, but in the long run, they're no longer. They didn't get a chance to showcase, and we don't know. We can't play the what if game.
Yeah, exactly. It's not disrespectful. I feel that it's not disrespectful to say I don't put them in the GOAT conversation, but it doesn't diminish their accomplishment. It doesn't diminish their accolades. They're not in the GOAT conversation. Right. Yes, it's an unfortunate reason, but you can't, just because it was your time, just because it was impactful to you, just say that these were the two, as influential as they were. Now just say there's nobody else, when you have guys that to me have beat them on every part of it. It does come down to numbers. You know what I mean? You can't only. I'm not saying only just numbers. That's a bad way to say it, because there's some cats that got some bad numbers that are on that list if we look at it that way. But what I'm saying is, influential. How many people copied them? How many people are memorable? Yes. How many number one hits? Yes. How many record sales? How many people? Like I said, how many people did they influence? You know what I mean? Are there many
Right.
people out there among the 3 or 4 generations, what you call it, of hip hop fans that are still reciting specific lyrics that they did? You know what I mean? And still, are they able to have 25 or 25th anniversary shows to, commemorate, some of their works? You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing that you have
Right.
on there. That those are kind of accolades you really have to look at. Now, what's funny? You brought up one that I was going to bring up, and you did. I didn't think anybody was going to bring it, which is Snoop. Snoop is never on anybody's list for the GOAT, like ever.
Right.
I have never heard one person talk about Snoop on that list. When I'm looking at this brother from 1992 to today, which is almost 30 years, been in the game, and he's not only has the past sales, he's still relevant. People still get verses from Snoop. People still talk about him. He still has a relevant name as much as any hot artist that just came out in the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Right. And like you said, almost 30 years in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody ever even, mentions Snoop. Because ultimately, what hurts Snoop is nobody gives him the lyrical credit.
Yeah.
From let's say lyrical standpoint. And that's what hurts Snoop when you get into the conversation with, I call, because you have 2 types. You have the hip hop and you have the rap head. And so the rap head loves Snoop, the hip hop head said he don't have lyrics.
Yeah, huh? That's an interesting concept. Yeah, I guess I can see people thinking that. I mean, I personally think his lyrics, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's definitely not on a high, Jay-Z scale, Eminem scale. I do say that, but I mean, to me, he's still up there. Lyrically, you're saying people just are like, nope, you know what I'm saying? Not even close lyrically.
Right. That's the unfortunate, debate. And those are where you get into the preferences, the personal preference. And that's why I say, the street cred, they'll give this guy street cred and take away that guy's street cred. It's like, they give Ice Cube all the street cred, but, is the Ice Cube today, is the Ice Cube when NWA came out?
Yeah.
Do you give today's Ice Cube the same street cred?
Huh. Okay.
You know what I mean? Is Ice Cube still that dude on the block? Like, we don't look at him the same way. Those of us watching through the, that dude on the block is not going to do. Are we there yet? So,
you're a fool, no, but it's true. I feel you. That's crazy. Yeah, here's what's crazy too. Let me ask you something else too. I'm gonna speak for one of my other dude that unfortunately he couldn't make this stuff, but we had kind of a pre-conversation. He actually really wanted to be on here because, in my personal opinion, I don't personally think Rakim should be on that list. I mean, I think Rakim is extremely talented, and once again, it's respect. You know what I'm saying? I respect what you did, you cultivated, you did, but you don't have any other metrics. The lyrical content, okay, we know it's there. That's there. Delivery is good, but you don't have nowhere near the numbers. You don't have near the requests. You don't have the popularity. You don't have people other than people that are deep savants, such as yourself and myself, that will really look at you and say, okay, yeah, we're going to get Rakim for a show. Oh, okay, well, okay, cool. Yeah, that'll be cool. You know what I'm saying? Right. Is that going to say, if I put it like this, side by side, if Rakim right now said, I'm going to come do a show for you, okay, cool. Like I said, our attitude probably going to be, all right, that's cool. But if the same day somebody comes and says, hey, I know you have the Rakim show, but I just got Snoop hooked up. You know what I'm saying? He'll come do it for the same price. But you only could take one. Are we going to keep Rakim? I don't think so. You know what I'm saying?
No, we're gonna take Snoop.
We're gonna take Snoop.
We're gonna take Snoop.
Yeah.